they know that I'm like that. They know that I give my all into everything, whether it's track or my relationship or riding for the people that I care about. Just said that because I just didn't have time for what everyone else wanted to invest their energy into. I was investing my energy into grinding and reaching the goals that I wanted to, and I had to lose some relationships that I thought I wanted and I thought were good for me. But I honestly have a great group of friends from my undergrad that love that I am a tryhard in every aspect that they need, and they know that if they ever need something from me, that energy is coming.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Whatever that I say I am, I can achieve just what I want to. Do you believe? Do you believe? Yeah. Do you believe? Do you believe? Yeah.
so first of all, I am in graduate school at the University of Tennessee. I grad transferred here last year. I was originally at Grand Valley State. Those that were in D2, I have 13 All Americans while I was at the university and several national titles. And I was Midwest Athlete of the Year 2 years in a row, and got Scholar Athlete of the Year and National Athlete of the Year. So definitely GB was my place, but I have moved up to Tennessee, and I was injured last year, but I have an outdoor season left that I'm ready to get after.
Listen, you said a lot of accomplishments, and you gotta rewind that. First of all, I got my orange on, of course, for Tennessee. I had to. I didn't even realize, to be honest, it wasn't on purpose, but once I literally was about to start, I'm like, oh dang, I do have orange on. So, you know what I'm saying? It works perfectly. I want to know this because you talked about All Americans and all this stuff. What event do you even run?
So when I was at Grand Valley, I literally ran every sprint event possible. I know some people like to include the 8. I did not run the 8. And then all the relays. So indoor, outdoor, I was stacked at nationals. Pretty much everything that I made it in. They would put me in unless the times were too close. So
Okay, so what is you said you just told me that you were 13 All-American. What are you a 13-time All-American in multiple events?
yeah, yeah, definitely multiple events. Yes.
Okay, what events? Let us know.
Okay. My national titles are in the 400s and open indoor and out. Um, a relay, also a national title. I have ran the 4x4 like all the years that I was there. Um, so those are from that to the 200. What else have I done?
Dang, can't even remember too many events. What
Like,
the heck?
honestly, and I'm in my 6th year, so I'm like, what all have I done? But pretty much everything like you could think I've been thrown in, I've done it, tried it.
Yeah. Yeah. I was looking at your Instagram. I was trying to figure out, and I thought like I saw hurdles. Like, were you hurdling at one point or no?
No, I did all star cheer. Maybe that's why you saw like flipping or something, and you were like, oh,
Nah, I saw yo. We go pull up the Instagram. I
oh.
saw something that said hurdles, baby. Um, Either way, so that's a lot of all Americans. I want to know, like, were you running track your whole life or no?
So actually, this is very ironic. I had no interest in doing track. I did all star cheer, and I was not like doing anything affiliated with my school. And my mom was like, "That's no, you have to do something. So you're gonna run track." And she made me. And the first year, I was horrible, like embarrassing. I also have asthma, so it's like, why would you make your kid with asthma do track? But whatever. And yeah, I was horrible my first year, but I had fun. Like, middle school is like everybody's together, everybody does track. And then in
Yeah.
8th grade, I actually was like pretty good. So I just kept doing it. But yeah, I originally had like really no interest. I played soccer for like 8 years. So I was like, and I knew like, because I did co ed soccer, that I was faster than a lot of the boys anyway. So I was definitely racing around a lot when I was younger, but I just didn't want anything to take away from when I was doing All Star Cheer, and track just seemed like a lot of time that was gonna take away from that. So
You said a lot just now. First of all, okay, so you did all star cheer. That means like you could do like backflips and
yeah,
stuff. What that means?
yes.
You still can do it like right now in your room. You could do a backflip if you had room.
If I yeah, this is a small apartment, but I checked after the season is over. I
Yeah.
checked where I can still do like a couple of my favorite skills.
Okay.
Yeah,
That is lit. Honestly, shows that you've been dedicated since you was born. For one. And the second thing you said, which I like, don't even know how this is possible. Like you have asthma. Um,
yeah.
that like like for people who don't know, baby, like that means you have a pump or like is it serious? Like, because
So
to me, any type of asthma is like, what's going on? You know?
it like makes your airway like close. It's like basically your airway starts to like shut on you. So like when you think like, okay, I'm out of shape. So like when you come back at the beginning of the year and you're like, wow, I'm like really out of shape. It's like breathing through like a coffee straw, like you know the little black straws. Like that's what it feels like. Um, so even like I could be in the best shape of my life like right now, and I can still have an asthma attack just because my allergies are acting up, or like I just am not great taking my inhaler or whatever. I recently found out that other people can hear me wheeze at practice. I thought I was the only person that could really hear me like struggling to breathe, but my teammates were like, "Oh no!" Like that's why we ask you at like certain points during the workouts, like if you're okay, because we can all hear you.
Yeah.
So I was very embarrassed because I thought it was definitely just me that was hearing that, but apparently it's pretty bad.
When you're struggling to breathe, though, like, is it like you're so used to it that it's not like you're not struggling? You're like calm now
I'm
because
definitely calm because if you start to panic, like if I'm having a bad day and I get an asthma attack, I'm like, oh gosh. But I'm definitely calm now because one of the first things they told me because when I was younger was like the more you freak out, the harder it's gonna get and it's gonna take longer for you to like come down. So I'm definitely calm through it now. My teammates definitely freak out and I'm like, good.
I want to. So okay, like this is really I don't want to say stupid question, but like it's not one. You already explained what an asthma attack is, but I'm really trying to understand. Like, I understand you said like breathing through a straw, but is that like okay? Is there any pain involved with it? Like, could you have an asthma attack and still run, or is the asthma attack meaning it shuts down completely? Like, there is no running. You need an inhaler right then and there, or you're gonna die.
You probably should do that. A professional would probably tell you you should stop. I definitely push the
Do
limits.
you stop? No. So you know, all American. We got to know what you're doing.
I definitely push it until like I really can't breathe anymore. Obviously, like when you're running and stuff, like the blood oxygen levels is like what's super important. So it is super dumb for me to be like, oh, I'll just keep pushing, but it's like your muscles aren't even operating correctly because you're not getting enough oxygen. But sometimes, like especially at the beginning of the year, like everyone's out of shape, so I don't. Again, I have asthma, so it's completely different. I don't know why I think this way, but I don't want people to think I'm out of shape. But
Yeah,
it's
I get that. I mean, either way, no one wants that.
yeah. So I think that's another reason like I've always pushed like kept pushing for it because I don't want people to think like, wow, this girl hasn't done a workout in weeks. So I
Yeah.
definitely farther than I should, but I have gotten better as I've gotten older just because it's really not good for your body to keep like to fight it. But I'm almost done, so
Yeah. Yeah. So, do you feel like because you like, are you having asthma attacks during a meet or is it just practice?
usually meets are okay just because I have time like in between. Like it's a longer break, like a break. Like workouts when we're doing like a long run, short rest, long run, short rest, long run, short rest. That's kind of like when I have a harder time. But at meets, I get it's easier for me just because it's like okay, all out, quick race. You have time to like get it back under control, everything, and then go again. So meets, I thankfully I've been fine. Um, but yeah, it's usually like when it's like repeated stuff where normal people are having like shortness of breath that
Yeah.
mine really gets triggered.
Yeah, so it seems to me if we're comparing everyone who has asthma, maybe who be running track, you are pushing yourself to the limit, and when you get to the limit you really still test what the limit is, and you've realized that when you do have an asthma attack, if you panic too much, it could get worse, or it could just make it just horrible feeling for you. But it's really just not that, I don't know, you're gonna die, but your tube is smaller. So if you can maintain to breathe through that, then you'll be fine. Do you get like a inhaler though,
Yeah.
like during workouts?
So inhalers are meant to like open your airway back up. Um,
Yeah.
tightening is like what asthma's doing. So I take my inhaler before practice. It depends like what type you have. Like different doctors will tell you different things. But I also have maintenance inhalers that I have to take like every day that I would have to take if I wasn't doing track anyway, just for like
Yeah.
going about activities.
Yeah.
Um, but I do have a like an inhaler at practice, and like I am able to do breathing treatments if I wake up one morning and say my maintenance inhalers aren't doing like I'm still not at 100% after taking my maintenance inhalers. Normal people that have asthma that even like weren't doing track, they would do the breathing treatments just because again, it's like not safe for you to like be working out if you're not like getting a sufficient amount of oxygen.
Yeah. Have you ever thought about quitting track because of that?
No. No.
And why not? Why not? Is it just never even a thought in your head, or is it like it doesn't even matter? Honestly, everyone has something they go through, or like what is the reason? Because I'm pretty sure majority of people, like people who think track is hard, don't do it. You know what I'm saying? So let alone have asthma. So
So
yeah, why?
one, it's been good for me in the aspect of like I have pretty bad anxiety, I would say too. And like being able to like control myself and my thoughts and like trying to like ground myself into calming down, like I think is very helpful. Would it be better for when I prefer to learn that in a different way other than asthma? Yeah. But I think that's been very helpful, like for me to just kind of like slow down and like regain control of like my thoughts and my emotions. Um, Obviously, yeah, there's other sports that having asthma would be easier. My teammates were actually just asking me like, why did you pick track? Like, out of like swimming and track are like the two worst sports you could do if you have asthma.
I was just about to say swimming. That would, oh my gosh, that
Yeah.
would be, yeah, horrible. Definitely.
So I honestly like, yeah, I mean, I haven't really thought about it because like it's just something that's like affects my daily life anyway. So it's just like I don't know. It hasn't really crossed my mind. It'd be different if it was something where it was getting very out of hand. Like people definitely have worse asthma, like worse cases of asthma than I do. And like doctors have also told me like because I do track, I have better control. Like my asthma is under more control because of it. So I haven't seen that it's been hurting me in any way. But
Yeah, you're a champion, so you just because that excuse was like, I mean, yeah, but I think no matter what, you would still be doing track, honestly. It's the championship mentality. Like you're a two-time, you said two-time national champion?
I have it.
Three?
I have three or four. I don't know. I think
In what event? In what individual events?
400.
In the 400. We
Mm-hmm.
need to know then. I'ma just straight up, if I want to be a national champion in the 400, what are some things that I need to do this year?
This year, what would I say you should do? Um, don't cheat yourself. I think there's a lot of events where you could get away with not always doing the hard stuff. Like there's a lot of events where I think like you could okay, like yeah, like short sprints. They have to be explosive, they have to be on it, they have to be recovered correctly just because their race is shorter. They
Mhm.
have less time to execute. They have less time for errors. Like the 60 is over. And I run short sprints sometimes so I can say that like it's over. You get out the blocks and it's done. Long sprints is like you need to make sure that you have got your training in. You have to make sure that you can do it while you're under fatigue, while you're hurting, while you don't feel your best. Just because the 400 is so long, which I know long distance is going to watch this and be like, it's really not, but okay. But it's a long sprint. And
Definitely a long sprint. I know that.
it's a lot of time to think. So I think that if you can get yourself to go through these hard workouts when you aren't having a good day, you aren't feeling the best, you are sore, like you will have less excuses that you can put in your mind while you're competing or it's meet day. Because, everyone in their head on meet day is like, well, I don't feel great. This could be better. This could be better.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks that if they are kind of like doubting themselves. So I think training through not injury, make that very clear, but soreness, being tired, having a rough day,
Yes.
super important.
Yeah, that's fact. So when you became a national champion, did you know that day that you were going to win? Like, was it like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do and I'm gonna win. I'm gonna like throw my hands up and I'm gonna go scream and then like go into the stands, like, or was it like, okay, like I know I can win? Like, how sure were you that you were going to win?
So the year before, it was actually canceled because of COVID, and I was ranked number one in the 62 and four the year of COVID going into nationals. And we were there. It was like 12 hours before the meet start, and they canceled it. So I had already
They
decided.
canceled the whole meet?
Yes,
What?
yeah.
Because of
While we,
what? Oh, COVID. Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I was like, why?
So
Yeah. Okay.
yeah. So I had already decided the year before that I was gonna win. And then when we came
The
back
year before, hold up, you got to repeat that again. When did you decide that you were gonna win national championship?
before COVID, I knew that I was gonna win the 400.
So over like 365 days before you won, you knew you were going to win.
Yes,
Because of what though?
because I knew that nobody had worked harder than me, had dedicated like their time and energy like as much as possible, and I knew for a fact that nobody was gonna fight harder for me, like than me for that title. Um,
Yeah.
Sounds a little bit cocky,
No,
but
don't say that. Don't say that. Don't explain. Listen, people only say cocky who are not confident. That's just what I say, honestly. You
but
want to know? I was called cocky in third grade. I remember it like it was yesterday. I was called cocky by somebody in third grade. I went home and told my brother, and then he went and pointed at a poster of Allen Iverson, Carmelo Anthony, LeBron James. It was like everyone says those people are cocky and they're the best in the world. So it's like I don't think there's such thing as cocky. I think you're either very confident or you're not confident enough,
yeah.
honestly. So
But
if yeah, go ahead.
so the next year when we did have it, they actually changed the meet schedule, and now they have men and women separate, like at nationals. But that started because of COVID. Um,
Okay.
so I could not run the 60, but I did run the 4 and the 2 because it literally went the 60 meter, the 400, I think the 8, and then the 2. So I couldn't run the 60 and then the 4. Um, but I had already known, like, from the year before, like, I'm
Yeah.
winning 4. Like, anything else can happen in these other events, but I'm not, like, I'm winning the 4. So I had won the 4. Um, did I get second in the 200? I don't even remember. And then turned around and ran the 4x4. And then
Now, when you're like training in practice, because I like remember, okay, the best year that I had my senior year where I jumped the furthest in practice. Now, when I'm going against people before that happened, because I in my head, I'm like, okay, this is where I'm gonna get. I'm not even competing against nobody. Like I'm strictly competing against who I feel like is number one in the nation at that time and what they're possibly doing to make sure I know no matter what, when I go against them, I'm going to win based off what I did. So are you like in your practice thinking I gotta beat my teammates or dang, we're doing this, so if I don't beat them, then I'm not good enough? Like, how is your thoughts during practice if you're thinking national championship?
so I have won as a team, like a national title. A lot of people have like haven't experienced that before. So at practice, I'm definitely that girl that's like, get up, come on, like we need to get going. You're fine. We have another one. Like just the other day, I had one of the younger girls do the pace for the harder workout, and she was like, I can't pace, I can't pace. I'm like, you're fine. Like get in front of me and get out and go. And we had a great workout. I definitely like to push my teammates just because I've won a national title with the team, and you will never ever forget that. Like the confetti in the background, and I know you've seen this, you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Stop the confetti, like that is like there's nothing better. You could win as many individual titles as you want or can. Like I had one individual title, but them shooting off the confetti for the team title, I was like, this is it. Like
Yeah.
hand you the hats, the t-shirt. You're like, this is perfect. So, and I don't know if you know that, like they cleared our whole coaching staff this year, so we have a whole new coaching staff. Um, but like I'm ready to win it.
Wow.
So I'm
Yeah.
definitely a girl that's like, get up, you're fine. Like keep, we got one more. So I definitely push my team, because my group is my relay team.
Oh, true.
So that it's great if I win, but what is 10 points gonna do?
Yeah.
You can't. I mean, 10 points is great, but you need at least 30 to be top three.
Yeah.
So you need that relay team. You need the other people. You're only good as your weakest link. And even though track is very individual, your team title is your team. So I definitely push myself with my teammates. Obviously, we all have strong suits too. So that's kind of hard. Like in track, like lactic acid workouts, they're like Nicole's up front. Repeats is not me. It's somebody else. Like, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
So like you have to know who in your group is the best at whatever you're doing that day and have them like push with them,
Yeah.
because it's very rare that you're good at every type of workout there is, because you know everyone has a preference of what day, kind of day you're about to have at practice. So
Yeah. It's so different because like with jumping, the guy who I was in practice with, every practice he would beat me. And it was just so funny because like I would win every meet, but like practice, I wasn't faster than anybody. I didn't have better stamina than anybody. The only thing I could do was jump further. So it was like every workout I was getting blown out on. So it's like me, like I really don't even have that experience where like even doing repeats, like I don't know what repeat I'm doing at all. You know what I'm saying? So it's different to hear your perspective on that um as well. Like how do you talk to yourself um maybe if you're going through something or even just to pump yourself up? Like do you talk to yourself in your head or like out loud at all?
I'm definitely an out loud talker, not
Yeah.
a favorite for teammates, especially on meet day. But this year we started doing positives on our hard days. So even though everyone wants to complain and no one wants to do the workout, we have to go around in our groups, and we all have to list a positive. And we do this before we line it up, which just kind of like shifts the attitude of the whole group, because it's kind of
Yeah.
hard when one person's like, come on, and the rest of the group is like, so we started doing positives, and it actually has really helped. And like I don't even have to ask anymore. We just like go around and start saying them. But it has definitely helped a lot. Like just trying to get the whole group to like switch on it. And it's kind of funny. Like if someone comes into our group that's normally not with us, and they like give a positive and then a negative, everybody jumps on them and is like, no, 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 we don't do that. Like now give another one, because we don't need the negative, only positive. So
Yeah. People are seeing right now like you smiling so energetic, but maybe they like can't see you dying in practice and like all really the hard work that you've done because it's not really recorded until you actually get on the track, which of course being an all-American and national champion shows that you've worked hard. But like to let us know what is actually the hardest part about what you do. Like what do you feel like the hardest part has been? If
I
there's anything hard. I mean,
no, track is hard. Um, through my college experience, I have gone through 4 different coaching staffs. So I have adapt is like my word for college. Because with a
yeah.
new staff, new coach, comes new training, new rules, new expectations. And it's hard to like, it's not hard to build a relationship, but it sucks to start over. Um, which a lot of people in the track world know that it's almost kind of impossible to have a coach your whole college career, one coach. Um,
Really? Because I've had that. Like, oh gosh, really?
you're very lucky then. It's very uncommon. Um,
I
so
couldn't do another coach. Oh no.
yeah, I've had four. And yeah, it's been interesting, and it's also different. Like if you've done the same training, like when you come back the next year, you know what to expect. Um,
Yeah, the practices, all that. Yeah.
and when I constantly am getting a new coach, I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I have
Yeah.
to reset like how I am perceived by this coach, prove to them that how hard I work, how bad I want this, that I'm focused, like that I'm a good student, that I'm a good person outside of here. So it's like there's a whole new pressure when another coach comes in, because especially if it's not the coach that has recruited you as well.
Oh
Um,
yeah, facts. Yeah. Yeah.
so you kind of have to start over. And again, I feel like that I had mentioned earlier that I like have a hard time with anxiety, and that definitely feeds into it. And it has definitely been hard for me throughout the years to not let my anxiety like take over in a workout. Um, and just know, like, just trying to know, like, okay, I am all these things, and me having a bad day isn't going to, like, everyone has a bad workout. If I had good workouts all the time, then I'm not giving 100% of what they're asking for all the time. And that's
Yeah.
something I try to tell the younger girls too, because I wish someone would have told me that. Because if you're giving 100% all the time, like, of what you have that day, then, like, you're going to have a bad day.
Yeah. Yeah. So are you saying what is how do you fix that, I guess, in a sense?
Like, which part of it? The anxiety part of it, or the
Well, you're saying if you give 100%, then you're gonna have a bad day. So is there a way that you can get away from the bad day, or do you just have to just deal with it?
I think it's good for you to have them. Like, if you're giving 100% in the weight room, giving 100% in your academics, like everything else, something is going to have to give somewhere else every once in a while, just because, like, that's just what your body needs. Your body needs a break. You have to understand the limits of your body. I'm not saying you should be having a bad workout every week, but it's okay for you to be imperfect and have a bad day. Like, it's
Yeah.
okay. You shouldn't feel like just because you're an athlete that you have to be on and perfect 24/7, because it gives you, I feel like it puts so much pressure on yourself. And I feel like some people like kind of let off the gas, because they're like, oh well, if I do this today, then I won't be able to be 100% this day. And it's like,
Yeah.
nobody is. Like, you can't, if you are constantly trying to be perfect, you're gonna let off the gas somewhere, which I think isn't worth it.
Nah, I definitely agree with that because that was kind of me my freshman year. I was like, yo, okay, we got this on Saturday. I mean, this on Friday. I can't while in weights on Thursday because then I'm gonna be dead tired and I'm gonna get last in practice. And then the coach is gonna be like, he not fast. And it's like, yeah, I get that. It could definitely mess up workouts if you're not putting in 100%. And even I guess you have to trust your coach too, because then you have to realize you have to trust their recovery method, which not every athlete can do. Um, I had very hard time trusting my coach's recovery method, but it worked out eventually. You know what I'm saying? As I did well in track. You mentioned that you had anxiety, which I've had the crazy amount of anxiety, and I didn't realize how bad it was until I stopped doing track. Can you explain like how do you know like you have some type of anxiety? Like what does that come in the form of?
So I think it comes like differently for different people, but I think if you are worrying, well, I think my favorite thing that someone ever said to me is, if the questions that you're asking me is what if. So what if I have a bad workout? Will coach think this? If I have this, like creating scenarios, like things that aren't necessarily true. You're constantly worrying about, and this is hard, like going into college, like worrying about what other people are thinking. Like I still do it with my asthma. Okay, it's a new team, new coaches. I have an asthma attack. I'm just gonna keep it pushing because I don't want people to think that I'm out of shape. No, you have a serious medical condition that it's not smart to keep going. Like think about this for a second. So it's like you are questioning yourself or your abilities or like just your value, I think. And that I feel like athletes are expected to not have anxiety.
You think that? I think it's just you just have to be able to deal with it because it's like, come on, if you're a top athlete, like it's almost how can you not be nervous? Like, you know what I'm saying? Even the best are nervous, I feel like.
And I think there's a difference between being nervous and having anxiety. Like nervous is like that like adrenaline rush you feel go through your whole body like right before you're about to go or
Isn't that anxiety though? Your nerves or no? I mean, I don't know the actual like what the I mean, I need a doctor to know, but
I
is
don't
it
have
something different? I feel like nervousness is like anxiety because you're anxious to run in a way. Which could I don't think that's bad, but there is bad anxiety, of course. You know what
yeah.
I'm saying?
There's a difference between it like being nervous, I feel like doesn't have like control over you. Anxiety, I think, is like subconsciously controlling like your effort and like your thoughts. Nervousness, like you just feel sick to your stomach. You can feel that you're getting like drained. Your whole body is like the tingling, numbness, like, and you feel like the rush through, like that for sure. Everybody does that. If you're not nervous, my last coach at Tennessee, before this new coach stuff, he said if you're not nervous, something is wrong. So there's definitely a difference. But I don't get like nervous until like I'm at a meet, and then I get sick to my stomach. I have that little phase where I get sick to my stomach. I'm like, oh, okay, okay, let's chill. But I think there's definitely a difference.
Do you throw up before meets? Have you ever thrown up before a meet?
I don't throw up. If I was
Have
to
you
throw
ever
up,
thrown up before a meet?
no.
Really? What? I've even thrown up before a meet. What
Uh,
the heck in high school?
If I throw up, something is seriously wrong, and I do not be at this meet. Yeah.
So when you're sick to your stomach, what is your stomach is hurting and like is this all right? Because I think people do need to know how soon is this? Is this when you're lining up, when you're warming up, when you wake up that day and you're eating breakfast? Like when is this feeling?
I feel like I get like a couple waves just because like track is a long like it's a long day. Like
Yeah.
I definitely yeah, because you gotta do like your shakeout and stuff like that. I'll definitely go through waves. Like I definitely have to get up and eat because after I do my shakeout, I start to get like a little sick to my stomach where I'm like, I don't know if I can eat this driving.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's gonna take forever to eat it. Like, oh my gosh, I can't swallow. Yeah. Yeah.
So, but I definitely get it kind of like when I'm getting ready, just because that's like all you're kind of thinking about. But definitely when they're like, take your sweats off, like, hurry up, take your sweats off. That's when I'm like, oh, like, that's when I can feel my body go numb. Is when they're like, take your sweats off, like, get ready, get lined up, set up your blocks. I'm just like,
I
oh,
hate that feeling. Oh
I,
my gosh, that's why I don't run. I can't.
oh. And like at Grand Valley, maybe I'm delusional, but I swear at the SEC meets, they are rushing you so much more because I maybe I'm just imagining things, but I swear they want you ready so much faster than when I was at Grand Valley because I like took off my sweats like normal pace. They're like, you have 30 seconds. I'm like, oh,
No, I believe that because it's like they almost wanted to where you're warmed up and you're ready to run as soon as you get to the tent. Like so now we walk out, we have to do announcements at this point in time. Like so, yeah, maybe. I mean, yeah, maybe. So I need to know because I didn't ask this yet. What is motivating you to go through all of this and even to like want to be number one? Because everyone wants to be number one. I could dream right now of being number one and wake up and be happy with the dream I just had and not really chase it. You know what I'm saying? So, what do you feel like makes you want to be the best?
um, well, one thing that I definitely would love to try to pursue would be like to do a pro year after this year. But also, I was at D2. Um, and people like to like make comments like, well, those All Americans don't count, those national titles don't count, it wasn't D1. And I know for a fact I could do it at D1. I don't think division matters in track. Maybe it does in other sports. I'm not really sure. But I know for a fact it doesn't for track. Obviously, you could argue in some positions, but I think there's a lot of talented athletes in all divisions that could jump up and jump down, and it'd be the same playing field.
Yeah, I feel like no matter what, like All American shows that you are the top in the nation at your event in general. I can only really see like someone saying that maybe if they were already in D1 for your event, but like you're D1 now. So it's like, do you feel like it's harder what you're doing now? Like as far as even in practice and things, or is it just like, yo, I've been at this level when I was, you know what I'm saying, running before?
Yeah, so Grand Valley has an amazing indoor facility, and big schools were coming to use our indoor facility for meets. I've been racing big D1 schools for a while. I won't call out schools, but a lot of schools would not let in our team's relay because we would come in and win. And they were big schools, big invites.
Oh, we need to know. We need to know. We need to know.
So they have been better about it because we would turn around and win at other meets. But there was a lot of schools that would say we needed to hit times that D1 schools were not hitting, and we're at that meet that they want us to hit before that meet even started. And this was like indoor. They wanted us to hit these times like at the first meet if we wanted to go. Um, so I've been racing some of these girls, some of these schools since I was a freshman, since I was 18. Um, and I've had coaches that were hard. I think like one of my coaches at Grand Valley was probably the strictest coach that I've ever had. And I think at D1, you just have more resources.
Yeah.
You have way more of everything. There was a girl on the team last year that also came from D2. She had also grad transferred. And her and I were joking because like the fall came, they're like, oh, we have your gear. And they hand us a backpack full of stuff. And we're like, oh, like, when do we pay for it? And they're like, no.
Really? Oh no. Nah, ain't no payment coming in.
And I'm like, well, we used to have to pay like to get like 4 t-shirts. Um,
No way.
Sometimes we would get shorts and a sweatshirt. And if we did good the year before, like Adidas would like give us like a sweatshirt for free. But like when you came in freshman year, you got the warm up and your uniform when you competed and a backpack. And you would get like shoes and spikes every year, but you paid for like your gear that you wore for practice in the meets. And they have like there's a chiropractor here and there's a massage therapist here and they have multiple trainers and they have everything that you could think of. So like the resources here, or like your own lifting coach. Like at D2, my track coach was my lifting coach. Like we didn't have a strength and conditioning.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So there's just a lot more here. Like I think if people like this the resources are just way beyond. Like there's that TikTok trend now that's like things that would send such and such into a coma. It's like things that would send D1 athletes into a coma from a D2 athlete would the list is so long. I'm just like, if you guys had to pay for your gear, if you had
I
to
can't
wait
do that.
our trainer, like we used to have to sign in for my trainer and you would just stand in line and wait until she was available. Like
I'll literally walk in my trainer and sit down. I don't care who is up though. I'm sitting right here and I'm waiting and getting my stuff done. At any point in time though, that's crazy because I didn't even notice like it was really like that.
mhm.
Um That's crazy. So because you're at uh, a better school and you have better trainers, better weight program, possibly better coach, you're expected to run faster this year, right? Like, what are your goals for this year?
um So obviously the 400, I would love to win this year. I ran a lot of events every single meet when I was at my other school, which I think made it a little bit harder for me to like really give my all into a race just because I was expected to do that 4 times at a national meet,
Yeah.
prelim finals day. So I definitely think I should definitely run faster, just even from that aspect of like, okay, you don't have to run 8 things in 2 days, okay? So don't worry about it. But I definitely know for a fact that I'll have a very big PR this year, just solely because I can just focus on just that. It's my last outdoor season. Um, really just having to like give everything that I have left, just because everything left from here is not guaranteed. I have to earn any time left I want with track. So
Yeah. I'm definitely excited to see you run this season. Like, no lie, like I said, I was looking at your Instagram. I'm like, okay, let me see who I'm about to be on the show with. So I got a question for you. One, let me know, were you like born with abs? Because I'm like, they showing here definitely. Or like, did you have to work for them?
so I feel like I've had abs since I did All Star Cheer. But tumbling and everything like that is it's really core based. So like when I'm like, oh okay, like when people are like, oh I have to do core, like core to us in cheer was like, oh we get a break. So I don't have a problem doing core. I actually like it. I sometimes feel like my hips. This is probably dramatic, but I feel like not really like aligned. If I haven't done core in a while, so
Yeah.
I definitely am. I don't have like some people just hate it. But I actually like it. So
So you do core, like, is it like is core like easy to you? Like, do you like the feeling of like, I guess I don't want to say pain, but like, when you're tired and you're like, oh, I gotta keep pushing because I know the more I feel my abs, the better I'm going to get. Is it like that for you?
um, I definitely don't like starting over. Like when we have like that 4 weeks off, in seasons, I when I was younger, I used to take that time off, but the older I've gotten, the more I like don't like to take a break from it because I don't like starting back over with core. I think like I stay in like a good spot so I don't really have to feel like that much pain. Like when you have to
Yeah.
start over with core and like the first exercise you do hurts, like that is not fun to me.
Yes.
But I definitely have built up where like, okay, I don't really feel that till like the end of like our 5 minute like little circuit thing. But I definitely don't like starting over with core. So if you ever want a break, keep doing core because starting over is the worst part.
Yes, facts. Yo, so I pulled up this picture. Let us know, you know what I'm saying? Because your caption says you don't have the time. What don't you have the time for?
So this is when I was young. I think I was a freshman.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah. 2000, what is that? 2018. That's
oh yeah.
yeah, 5
I,
years ago. What didn't you have the time for?
so actually my next post is me with my All Americans, I think.
Sheesh. Sheesh.
And that is why I didn't have time.
Okay. Okay. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We gotta zoom in.
Yeah.
We gotta zoom in. Sheesh. So like, did you have to, in a sense, I guess, like cut things off? Maybe did you have to do anything different that specific year to become that All American? Because it's like you don't have time. Like, is it your friends that you may not have time for? Is it maybe negativity you don't have time for? Like, what are some specific things that you may have time for to make it here?
So I definitely in my freshman year, I had a hard time just kind of like with friends and everything else just because I'm a try hard. I know some people don't like that. That's definitely something I've been called a lot as an athlete in groups of girls that I've trained with. Um, and it used to really make me upset, but like I kind of go back and forth with it because it's like, yeah, I am a try hard. Like, duh.
Try hard. Why wouldn't you try hard though? Because I mean, maybe
Exactly.
that's a like you guys think like because I've never heard of try hard. I've never like
I
what is
don't
that? What's
know.
wrong with try hard?
So that's like something that has like been a thing like undergrad, graduate school, like, and I go back and forth with it because I'm like, well, yeah, duh, like it's college athletics, like,
Yeah,
but I definitely had a hard time like making friends or keeping friends that were my age just because I was a freshman and I was on the relay team with all seniors. I was going to nationals with all seniors. I was 18, and I think I had a very hard year with just trying to, because you're young and you think like, okay, I want people to like me. I want to have friends. Like they tell you college is like where you meet all these friends for a lifetime. And I was young and I just didn't understand that people that actually like me and care about me, like they know that I'm like that. They know that I give my all into everything, whether it's track or my relationship or writing for the people that I care about. But when I was younger, it was definitely something I had a hard time dealing with because it was just like something that was like kind of triggering for me, just like that's how girls were to me in high school. And then it happened when I got into college. So I think I just said that because I just didn't have time for what everyone else wanted to invest their energy into. I was investing my energy into grinding and reaching the goals that I wanted to, and I had to lose some relationships that I thought I wanted and I thought were good for me. But I honestly have a great group of friends from my undergrad that love that I am a tryhard in every aspect that they need, and they know that if they ever need something from me, that energy is coming. So
yeah. Yeah, heck yeah. That's how you became a 13-time All-American, literally, and 2-time, 3-time, 4-time, however many national champion. And you're gonna do even more popping this year. So this is really not even an obvious answer. Um, that's why I'm asking the question, like, do you love yourself?
yeah, I think if I were to look back, I would probably always tell you yes. But as I've gotten older, I think that if I were to look back, I would say probably not as much as I should.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I think it's kind of also hard when you're younger to realize that you also need to find out who you are outside of what you're doing. Like you knew that you wanted to do this show, and yeah, you had to, like, there were certain things that people didn't like about it, but you knew, okay, this is what I'm going to do and I'm going to do it regardless however I get there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I didn't see myself doing anything outside of sports. I couldn't tell you what I liked outside of sports. And like when we get in new kids now, like as I've gotten older, I like to ask questions like, well, what are your favorite things to do like outside of track? And it's interesting to like watch people be like, well, or like tell me a fact about you outside of whatever sport you do. And people like struggle to do that, which I definitely would have struggled when I was younger.
Yeah.
And I think when I was younger, I just put way too much pressure like on who I was as an athlete, not as a person.
Mm-hmm.
And I definitely have spent way more time, I think, like through injury and everything else that forces you to really think like, okay, what do I like to do when I can't do what I love to do? So
Yeah. And that makes me think like, what did I like to do? If you would have asked me that in college, the only thing that I liked to do was record my show and play video games. And that's what I do. I have my show playing video games and all that, which is crazy. I never would have thought like, dang, what do you even like to do outside of track? Um, because it like if you don't even ask yourself that question when you're done with track, it could take time, you know what I'm saying, for you to even figure that out. Which is good for you to have, or like you gotta stay focused, of course, on track if you want to be the best athlete. But like you said, like loving yourself, like you could love things outside of track. So, like, what do you specifically love about maybe yourself in general?
I love to do new things. You tell me that I can't do something, I'm gonna figure it out. Will I stay up all night trying to figure out how to do it and get it done? Yes, 100%. Um, I think that's probably one of the reasons that I ended up getting a dog when I was a sophomore.
Yeah,
Um,
your dog's all over your Instagram. I
yeah,
literally seen a highlight reel. Like you got a ring for your dog, maybe. I think I seen. Like, yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, that's my baby. But like I when I need a break from track, like a break, like I'll take him to go like do anything. Go outside, like take a break, get away from everything and stuff like that. And I think like that's good for me, that kind of like that adaptability, like okay, I can go do something completely different and like still like I'm okay with it. Some people like just don't like to or they don't feel comfortable to like try new things and not be good at them, I guess.
Yeah.
And I'm cool with like people like, well, you're an athlete, you should be competitive. I'm like, there's a difference between like being competitive and like taking the time to like learn how to do something new.
Yeah. Yeah. And also it's like one thing I do want to say, like, because you were even asking me about my show, like for me to get to what I'm doing right now, I had to even realize like there were times where you would practice like 3 times a day. Your coach would be like, you're practicing too much. You would be in the trainer, boom, hurt. Like you'd be like, oh my God, up till 4 in the morning on the phone with your homie, like, yo, I gotta do this. I gotta do this to become a national champion. I gotta like watch videos in order to get to where you want to get to in anything. You have to almost take that same attitude. So it's like whether it's you, like, I don't know, anything that you do outside of track, if you take exactly how you practice, your teamwork, your leadership skills, you know what I'm saying, you saying, okay, dang, I do have asthma, I do have something that holds other people back, but I'm not going to let it hold me back. If you take that mindset towards anything, you will literally be the top in the nation. Of course, with time, because it didn't just take 1 year for you to become, you know what I'm saying, all American. It took multiple years of dedication. So, like, even with that, you said not everyone's perfect and it's okay not to be perfect. So, what is something I guess that you may be improving on or trying to improve on?
Oh gosh. One hmm. Um I would definitely say this year, since it's my last year. Um
Sheesh.
I know it's so sad, of college. We'll say that. My last year of college. I'm trying to like focus on like this is my last this is my last that. Like taking it slow and like being like appreciative of like, yeah, this is a hard day, but how many hard days do I have left? Like how many like I don't have an indoor season, but I'll get to run unattached. So it's just like I had my last media day the other day and I was like, okay, like this is my last media day. Like, yeah, I didn't have any at my D2 school, but I had one last year. So it's just like I'm trying to focus on like and be grateful for the things that I get to have the last one of. Um because when you're young, like you just don't really when you're a freshman, you don't think like, oh yeah, these 4 years are gonna fly by and I should just
Yeah.
sit and be like at like because at my old school after every home we had a nice indoor track. We had all of the freshmen from our class would just like come hang out after. Like we would just all sit in our like little apartment and just like all hang out, talk, not even necessarily about track, but like when I look back on that, I'm like, that's really cool. Like a lot of teams can't say like, yeah, my whole class like that was on the track team would just come and hang out after the meets. After we all just died, we would all just come and like hang out.
Yeah. Yeah. With me, it was more of just maybe 2 people.
Yeah.
Literally. Literally. That's so interesting. Is there any advice you may like give yourself if you were like 16? Let's say like, okay, you're talking to your 16-year-old self. Like, what advice would you give them to be where you are today or even better than that?
Um, I would say be the try hard. Um,
Be the try hard.
be the
Yes, you
try
need to.
hard. And anybody that cares about you and wants to see you succeed, you won't have to try hard for them to be that person for you. People that, like, when people show you who they are, believe it and let it go and reflect to make sure that it has nothing to do with you and who you are as a person, but then let it go and just keep doing and being who you are as long as it's the best version of yourself and you are not hurting anybody.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you believe in yourself?
For sure. I have done things when I look back on it and I'm just like, a normal person wouldn't do that.
Yeah. Literally. How much do you believe in yourself? Out of 10, how much do you believe in yourself?
This year, I would say I'm out of 10. This is the most that I have felt relaxed. I don't know if I want to use the word relaxed. I'm not
Comfortable or
worried
maybe,
about
you know,
where
I
I'm
know what you're
at.
saying. Yeah. Cause
I'm not,
you put it in the work.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So okay. So me personally, um, there's not a lot of times where I wouldn't say I'm unmotivated, like especially to do something I want to do, or like even to put in hard work for my dream. But I still use affirmations, and that's what this company is built off of in order to motivate people. For example, I say, I am Dino, who are you? Letting people know I'm whoever I want to be, and you should do the same, whether you're a model, actor, artist, entrepreneur, athlete, teacher, or student. So me personally, I'll say I am Dino. I am blessed. I am strong. I am courageous. I'm an African American. I'm an athlete. I'm a 4-time All American. What are some affirmations that maybe define you personally?
Hmm. Um, I would say that I have no boundaries that I can't work through. I would say I am passionate.
Sheesh.
I would say I'm an athlete. I would say that would probably be lower on my list because I think the other things that I am, like, that's what makes me an athlete.
Mm-hmm.
But like the boundaries and having grit with the passion and like being self motivated, I think are probably, and that I'm honest with myself, I think are probably like the main things.
Yeah.